Good morning. I am here with Judy from the State Board and Michele from Maricopa County, and they asked the association to participate to share some information about the Maricopa County Indigent Decedent Services Program and answer questions that many of our members have had about it. So I'm going to let you two ladies take the floor and kind of give some information about this program.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Morning. And I am just going to throw it right to Michele by asking her, hey, Michele, can you tell me about the transition that's taking place right now with the Maricopa County Indigent Decedent Services Program?
Yes, absolutely. I'd be happy to. And thank you very much, ladies, for this opportunity. We have been receiving a lot of questions, which I'm very excited about. I'm always happy to share anything with folks about what's going on in our program, but now especially because we are going to be, Maricopa County has decided to go ahead and transition the Indigent Decedent Services Program from our public fiduciary colleagues to the Office of Vital Registration. And, there are things that have been evaluated certainly over time, and the county is continuously taking a look at improvement and opportunities. And there was certainly an opportunity there, and it just made sense for Maricopa County Office of Vital Registration to absorb this program and oversight of it, because we already work with all of the same partners and stakeholders, and we serve our community, and we have a public-facing effort as well. And so it was just a natural fit for us. So Maricopa County has supported this transition, and we will be taking it over effective September 1st, which is synonymous with the new solicitation effective date.
So I have a question, Michele. If I say was a funeral establishment who had never participated in this contract before, what kind of extra equipment or software would a funeral establishment be required to purchase and able to fulfill this contractual obligation?
That's a great question, because this contract is significantly different from the current contract and that of years past, in that our funeral home contractors are not expected to acquire any additional software in order to fulfill this obligation and enter into a contract with Maricopa County to provide these services. And so previously there was software that would be necessary, because the investigation and research was a primary component of the contract, and the responsibility for that was, or is until the 31st of this month, the responsibility of the funeral home contractor. But in the new contract, Maricopa County recognized that this often was a barrier for folks and a challenge. And so Maricopa County has supported the Office of Vital Registration, as since we are going to be taking on the SIDS program, the County Indigent Decedent Services Program, that we absorb that. And so they're resourcing us in order to, and we are purchasing all of the necessary software as we speak, so that we are poised and ready to take on that investigation and research necessary to do that.
That is incredible. So just to make sure I'm crystal clear on that, so the investigative and research aspect of this contract will now fall to County Office of Vital Records rather than on the funeral establishment. That's right?
Right. To the Indigent Decedent Services Program and in and of itself. So we have the benefit of transferring over the indigent contractor, coordinator who is in this position, and we are in the midst right now of recruiting for additional coordinator positions, so that we are poised and ready to take on that portion. And that is significant, and it merits repeating.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That has been a concern and a challenge that many of our establishment partners have reflected as a reason why they would not consider or be able to take it on, because they recognize that it would take a lot of resources within their establishment in order to be able to do that and fulfill that obligation. And so, recognizing that, Maricopa County has supported us, Maricopa County, taking that function on and that responsibility. And with that, that will give us the opportunity to vastly improve upon the timeline and our ability to complete that research necessary to determine indigent eligibility for that decedent, and then subsequently ensure a timely disposition occurs, because that's ultimately the primary emphasis. We want to ensure that these decedents are able to be to benefit from a timely disposition. And so this will guarantee that. So
Because
no
you'll have
investigation.
dedicated staff working on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And we're already talking to our Office of the Medical Examiner colleagues and other colleagues internally in order to learn where areas of opportunity exist. And in fact, Maricopa County had already supported a continuous improvement process for this specific program. And so we're benefiting from that effort that was already done, and also re-engaging our colleagues throughout Maricopa County to learn and ensure that what was identified or reflected is still the case, and or instances where there is a new identified opportunity for improvement as well. And so we're improving upon that as well. So we're really trying to leave no stone unturned and evaluating in this process of transition the areas where we can improve upon it, both for our own benefit, because Maricopa County does expect us to provide a tremendous service to our community, to our residents, and be good stewards of any task that we are responsible for, directly responsible for the benefit of the community. So efficiency and effectiveness are very important, and so we take that charge seriously, and we're really trying to identify those areas of opportunity.
And speaking of improvements, has the, let's ask that all important question, the compensation or fee schedule changed with this new contract?
Yes. We recognize that this was also an area of concern. And so Maricopa County's price list has increased significantly as well from where it was. And we know it was necessary and overdue, and that's why Maricopa County supported that effort. And so, for instance, in addition to that, I can't go into the pricing without first indicating that Maricopa County has also identified cremation as the primary method of disposition. So,
and let's be clear, that is a huge change.
Yes,
for the better.
Yes, it is, absolutely. And all of our industry partners have been saying it. We know it. And we know that we have a very high cremation rate as the primary method of disposition in Maricopa County already. And so it just makes sense, because ultimately that's what our residents by and large are choosing to do for themselves and or for their loved ones. So recognizing that, it's just, it's a natural transition to what our community is doing and asking for already.
So there'll be a lot fewer indigents taken to white tanks.
Well, when there is no next of kin, part of that process is, because then the next question that inevitably has come from our funeral home industry partners is, in the event that there is no next of kin to take possession of the cremains, what do we do with the cremains? And so Maricopa County has established a process where we are interring those cremains at the Maricopa County White Tank Cemetery. So
is this a situation where they would fill a vault with cremated remains before interring it, or are they individually interred at white tanks?
They're individually interred. So each urn is individually interred, and they've already established a process for it. And in addition to that, I've been able, as we've been doing this knowledge transfer from our pub bid colleagues, our public fiduciary colleagues, I've had the opportunity to also learn and meet a chaplain and his team of chaplains who provide a tremendous service to this community, to the indigent decedents. And so every week when, as these interments are scheduled, they head out and they provide a service over each and every decedent. And so it was a tremendous opportunity to see and a blessing to participate in. In fact, my team and I, who happened to go out and meet Chaplain Tom and Stephanie, had the opportunity to also participate in that service. So they're a blessing to us, and the service that they provide is extremely valuable. So, everybody just deserves a dignified disposition. And so we're so happy for them and that they provide this tremendous service. And so they even take out a rose for each and every decedent as well. And so that's part of the service that they render and provide as well. And it's entirely voluntary. So it's a blessing to have them in place in Maricopa County. And so as I've continued to learn more and more about this process, because it's one thing to know it as a colleague and have a stake in this process because of the mutual workflow, but it's another to actually be able to dig into every aspect and learn every single aspect of this program. And so in doing that, I've learned a lot of new great things. I've met a lot of new great people, and the sky's the limit, and I'm excited about the opportunities that will continue to come over our first inaugural year of taking over this program. So I think there's going to be a tremendous opportunity for improvement and collaboration, and I'm really excited. As daunting as the task is, because this is such an important service, I'm excited about the opportunity to really dig in a lot, along with our industry partners and our colleagues that participate in this process.
That's really exciting. This sounds like a great infomercial. The more you know, but you do, we all learn, and we're always trying to make everything better that we can. And so if somebody does bid on this contract, how long is it good for?
The contract is for a year with the opportunity to re-up for up to 5 years. And so, if a funeral home establishment is interested but concerned about their ability and their commitment to this program, because they may have other plans in the hopper, other commitments that they anticipate, a year's contract, I believe, is manageable. And one might be more willing to participate in it, knowing that at that year's end, they can choose to either re-up or not. And ultimately, we want this to be a give and take and a beneficial relationship for both. And we understand that our industry partners are a business, after all, and provide a very important and valuable service to our community at large. And so, and as such, because Maricopa County is a growing county, that several folks might have plans, for their future. So we understand that. And so I think that and hope that folks might consider participating, submitting a bid, and being part of this collaborative effort, and then decide, as we get down closer to that year mark, whether or not this is a good fit for them. And so considering everything that they have in mind for themselves and their team and their establishment and community as well.
And I would just remind all the Maricopa County funeral homes that are hopefully going to view this that we did send out to all Maricopa County funeral establishments the contract and the information that Michele had provided to us. So everybody check their inboxes for that information. And I'm just really excited about this because I feel like Maricopa County Office of Vital Records, that these funeral homes, you understand the process, you understand what holds things up, what has to be done, and it's really going to be a unique and beneficial perspective and partnership. I couldn't even say one thing that I think would be the greatest advantage of this transition, but if you have one, let us know.
Well, I think it's that thank you for that, Judy. And ultimately, we try, and I think it's important to know and understand every aspect of the folks that we work with, our partners and stakeholders. And so I hope that our funeral home industry knows that we appreciate them and the service, very important service that they provide. And we try to know what we need to know in order to serve them well too, because we mutually serve this community at large. But in addition to that, in the event that there is something that we don't know or we need to benefit from learning a little bit more about, we're happy to always. And ultimately, I think this is going to be an area where we're going to have the opportunity to experience greater growth and benefit from expanding our knowledge of one another, And so I'm interested in this being a collaborative effort where we establish a consortium, if you will, of these funeral home establishments that submit a bid, want to participate in this, and that we come together to identify the ideal workflow. Now, there are going to be certain requirements. Folks will have to initiate an application, if you will, but in fact, we're turning it from a paper process, mostly paper process, to an electronic process. And the funeral home establishment will complete on that application the information that they were given and that they have. They will not be asked to investigate or research any additional information than that they were given. All we're asking is that they enter that information into this electronic application and submit it to the Indigent Decedent Services Program, and then that will kickstart the transaction, if you will, between the funeral home establishment and ourselves. But behind the scenes, we are already establishing a process where they and we will receive simultaneous notification from our Office of the Medical Examiner colleagues. And so we will already be initiating the research and the investigation so as to ensure that we're able to provide an as timely disposition as possible. So we're going to be completing the obituary for the decedent. We're going to gather, for instance, if we didn't have the benefit of being provided the Social Security number for the decedent, we'll be doing that research almost immediately to obtain it so that we can submit to the VA and try to verify veteran status for the decedent. In addition to that, we want to try to almost immediately do the research and investigation so that we can identify possible family members, next of kin, and in the event that there were no reported next of kin, so that we can ensure that we are making them aware of the loss of their loved one, the demise of their loved one, and giving them the opportunity to come to us and the funeral home so that we can, with them, as a part of this process, pursue the disposition of that decedent. And so we're making significant changes and improvements, and this will truly be a collaborative.
That is fantastic. And I'm sure whoever ends up being accepted on these contracts are going to feel supported in a way they never have previously.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
yes.
anything better, because that's in the most simple terms, you're doing everything that you can to speed up the process.
Absolutely, because we recognize,
as quickly as possible.
Yes, you know, one, we want to be able to ensure this for the decedent, a timely disposition, and in addition, we recognize that this could be a challenge and a bottleneck regarding capacity for our funeral home establishments, and so we don't want to overburden our establishment partners by not benefiting from a timely disposition. We will also, when there is no next of kin, any family member, to authorize the disposition after we've performed due diligence. If there is no next of kin, then we, the Indigent Decedent Services Program, will be responsible for authorizing that disposition as well. So that was also an identified barrier or challenge that we recognized was contributing toward the delay. And so we're trying to eliminate where we can as we're taking a look at those statutes and rules and those areas where we know we've mutually experienced a bottleneck or a barrier alongside our legal counsel. What can we do? What do we legally have the authority to do? But ultimately, because the Indigent Decedent Services Program is technically the legal representative of and for the decedent, because there is no family, there is no next of kin, and so inevitably that legal authority defaults to us.
Right, because in essence, that's where the contract lies, is with the county and not with the family at that point. So that is just fantastic. I can't think of anything else to add to that other than if somebody needs to reach out to you with more questions, what's the best way?
They should give me a ring. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody should have my number. I peddle it everywhere. So, and just so that everybody knows, my my cell phone receives calls from my desk phone, and I never take that off. So sometimes I've been known to receive calls very, very late at night, thinking, they think they're going to leave a message on my desk phone, but sometimes I pick it up. If I'm awake, I'll answer. So yeah, if anybody's interested, please reach out to me, send me an email, give me a call. I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you have a very technical question regarding the contract and you want to reassure yourself regarding anything, any aspect of it, I would be happy to also refer you to our Office of Procurement Services. They manage the contract aspect of it, but time is of the essence. So I'm hoping that folks really consider it. If they are, give me a call. I'll be happy to answer any questions. That contract is in effect on 9/1. And so I'm going to have to set up a post-award meeting. In fact, I have a date and time. It's Thursday afternoon. So I'm hoping folks submit those bids and join the team. And then what I want to do is to be able to have a collaborative meeting with all of those awardees so that we can talk about the process. And we can establish what the ideal rotation would be for folks, with a commitment that whatever we establish after we put it in place, if we evaluate or believe that there's an opportunity for an improvement, we're willing to do that. We do have some leeway and flexibility to continuously evaluate the program, the workflow, and as long as it isn't an area that would impact our mutual ability to meet statute, rule, or any necessary policies or procedures, we have that flexibility to work out the workflow and come upon an agreement. And what I'm looking forward to is having a group of folks who are willing to be responsible to one another to ultimately ensure that we will all catch the ball when it's our turn in time. And so we're going to be responsive to them, and we hope and expect that they would be responsive to us as a true team would and should.
Great.
So that's what I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy and Michele, for sharing this. It sounds like this program has the opportunity to be successful for everyone involved. So, yeah. And also while serving all of the decedents with the care and dignity that they deserve and that we all know that we can do as funeral service providers. So thank you for joining us today and sharing all this information.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you for the opportunity. You all are wonderful. Take care.
All right.